Hello, everybody, and welcome back or welcome to BU Inspirational Interviews. I have a special guest with me today. So, fun fact about Carrie. Her name is Carrie.
Yes.
Carrie went to my brand launch party. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
And I had you speak.
have the video of it.
Yes. So she was here from the very beginning of BU. So I'm very happy to have you here and witness what it's become.
Yes.
Um,
I love watching it unfold.
yes. So when you spoke at the very beginnings, when I had the BU event, BU Unity event, that was so fun.
That was a really good time.
It was, yeah. That was a
good.
yeah. You spoke about a business a company that you had created, which was called Enhikenment.
Yes.
And it was for women to get together and hike and be empowered and just all the good things, right? But you also have created more things since then.
Yeah, it kind of, so same with you, right? When you're starting out a business, like you start with the idea, and then as I advanced and I got different certifications and the kind of the unfolding of what health became, like it just basically changed over time. So it still targets like mind, body, spirit health, but it's a lot more in the form of strength training and building out programs in nutrition, and then recommending it's always go outside. That is like the key piece of like what I want women to do.
Get back to nature.
But it's unfolded over time. And now I do have male clients where in the beginning I was like, this is all for women, and I still gravitate to coach women. But the more I got into lifting and then having lifting and endurance clients, then males reached out. And so it's still a smaller coaching group, but it's a really good experience then to also, because the male and female, they're so different when you're building out programs or when you're talking about different ages, and we go through different things. So it just kind of gives me the opportunity to really enhance my skill set and also learn, right? I have to be skilled to be able to help you. So I get the time to continue to like learn and grow in what I do.
So tell us about where you started with Enhikenment, right? Is that your first?
Yes.
And then what it grew to now, because I see you online, like lifting
Oh, thank you.
heavy things and everything. I'm like, heck yeah, Carrie.
When I started Enhikenment, it really was because in my healing journey and in therapy, the one thing that really grounded me was being outside. And the more I immersed myself in nature, and when I was trying to get healthy and trying to lose the weight from having kids, like I just felt centered and at peace outside, right? Like Earth and God's creations and Mother Earth, like it's just pure. Like, and so you cannot have a bad day, like unless you're forcing yourself to have a bad day. Otherwise, you naturally come into a meditative state when you're outside. You work on your breathing. So all of that was so important to me. So I was like, okay, let's start there. And then it was also, I'm a mom, and so it was getting used to putting myself first. It was, no, I'm not going to do this with my kids today. I'm going to go work out for me. I'm going to say no to this, and I know it's something that my kids are doing, but I need to get healthy, and I need to feel good about myself. And so then it was working through mom shame and, oh, I can't do this because I have kids. And then over time, I realized, like, no, if I don't do these things for me, I'm not showing up in the full capacity of what my children deserve. They deserve the best of
so
me.
Important.
Yeah, and so it was, and then the more moms I talked to, I was like, this is a thing.
Yeah.
It's a theme, and so just diving deeper in my healing. So Enhikenment started with that. Like, let's focus on your mental and spiritual health. Let's get outside. So I got certified in like wilderness first aid, and I knew I could be there to like really take care of the women that I was with. And we did guided hikes. But as you know, like as a coach and in your dancing and stuff, like for me to be active on my own time and then to find time to map out trails and then take women on trails, I didn't have the right time, and then my body was getting pretty burnt out because I could put a lot of miles on my body, but it just wasn't working. And so I was really thinking, I was like, what is a realistic where I can still show up fully for the people that I'm coaching, and then also have my own separation in time. And then at my last half Ironman, I got injured, and so I wasn't going to be racing. And my coach at the time was like, do strength training. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to go lift some weights. And I was so weak, and I was so bad at it, and then I got pissed. Because I was like, how can I go cycle and run, and I can do all these hikes, and then I can't squat?
Yeah.
It was really it was so humbling. We all need those humbling. So I got into that, and I got into powerlifting. And my sister got very sick, and so it was a form of therapy. And then I became very competitive, and I've done really well for my age and weight class. And then that dived into, okay, well, this is a different way of eating. And am I really nourishing my body correctly? And different sports require different nourishments, right? And then all of a sudden I'm in my early 30s, and I'm in my 30s, then I hit into my 40s, and I was like, oh, okay, like, body was really changing. So I put myself back to school to be a certified sports nutritionist, to understand the ages of individuals, what our bodies are going through, how to properly fuel people and my clients. Like, how can I really build out a nutrition program that's sustainable for you, and also for what you like to do and the age of life that you're in. And I didn't really hit that age of life piece until I got into my later 30s, early 40s. And I was like, okay, so my metabolism's
different.
Like, I was like, I cannot eat like I'm 25 anymore. Right?
Yep.
Can't eat the same as a male. And so we went into that. And then that's what brought strength training clients to me, and really understanding the importance for women to lift and what that does for our bodies as we age. And so my client base goes from 25 to 64. And it's all tailored on what your needs are. So if you want to power lift, that's your program. If we're learning how to strength train, that's your program. And every piece comes back to, in every program I do, it says, get outside, go for a walk. Like, there is not a day that doesn't have you outside. I want you to go outside, move your body. Physical activity can truly start as something as very simple as a walk. Just clear your mind, take the time. And then making sure I show up for each client in what they need for that day. They're all going through different things. So I am there for your space and for your time. So.
So what you something you said earlier about mom shame. So I'm not a mom, but I have worked with a lot of women. Like, my brand started out just women too. And then it just kind of branched out to like everyone. But I hear that a lot, and I can understand it. Like, I can kind of see how that would be, but someone who hasn't experienced it firsthand, like, what does that feel like? And how do you navigate through that? And how do you not feel that shame?
And for me, I truly feel it's that unsaid societal expectation of what a mom's supposed to be, or even what a woman is supposed to be, and how we're supposed to show up in certain situations. Because it's weird, we feel it, but I'm like, where did I read this? Who told me this? Right? But that's what's just been passed down over generations. And it was, for me, it was through therapy, and then through reading. And so I started reading books by Dr. Brene Brown, and her studies started in shame, and then it went to vulnerability. So it really targeted that piece of like, wait, I'm not bad. There's nothing to be shameful that I want to take care of myself. But then when you start putting that out there, you meet the people that are not going to understand that, and they're going to say things to you, and they're like, well, you should be there for your kid. I'm like, okay, well, I am. It just looks different than you. So the first couple of years was very hard. It was even very hard because I already had kids. So I had to go from this piece of, this is mom time, when they weren't used to that. So, and when I really started to get in my health, like at that point in time, my kids were like 5 and about to be 8, so kind of could read. So it was like signs on doors, or I locked my kids out of my doors. I'm like, nope, this is my yoga time. That's it. It's reminding my partner, like, this is my time. And I had those moments where, and then it's talking myself back, like, there is nothing wrong in this moment because you want to take care of yourself. There's nothing wrong in this moment because you need separation from your children. Like, when did it become that because I became a mom, I lost being a woman? I didn't. I didn't lose my aspirations. I didn't lose my drive or my desire or want to achieve. And then by me showing up for me and doing these healthy pieces for me, I got to see the difference in my children, right? So they respected my space and I respected theirs, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I need quiet time too, Mom. Cool. Like, this is
so
your
they
time.
learned, yeah.
Yeah, so they learned
you.
to like put it into practice into their
own
own lives.
Yeah, that's great.
And that we can achieve things. And that's really what I wanted for my kids. I didn't want them to grow up with this idea that they have to stop being who they are, in a sense. We're gonna ever evolve and change, right? And kind of like mourn our younger selves as we get older. But I didn't want them for them. And then as I've done more, right? So hiking became, I bring my kids and my kids go hiking.
Yeah.
When I compete in powerlifting, so nationals, worlds, my kids get to go. And so they've gotten to go to different states to watch me race or watch me to compete.
That's cool.
And then they also get to experience like failure, right? And they get to understand that failure does not define who you are.
Yeah.
And you get to change that course. So once I saw it in my kids, I was like, okay, like,
This is good. Yeah.
This is good. But it started in the beginning, it did feel overwhelming. And I felt very alone because even like with my best friends, I had kids way before they did. So I didn't have someone going through what I was going through at the same time. So it can feel isolated.
For sure.
And so I just kept showing up in the discomfort to work through it. I didn't want my hurt or my mind to be the end results. I really truly felt that I could find a better path for that. And then it just keeps evolving, right? I'm going to keep failing, and then I'm going to figure it out, and we're going to try again.
Yeah. But that's how we learn.
That's how we
right?
learn.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to do that in a space in front of my children, which I hope as they go older realize, just how that kind of can profoundly redirect them, right? Failure's only failure if you stop.
Yeah. And you're setting a great example, I think.
you.
Yeah. Especially with, starting with setting boundaries. So they're learning boundaries are important. And then, like you said, like the failure, like now they're witnessing you don't fall apart if you're not the best in everything. And, sometimes I see parents, when I was in high school, I dated this guy who had a dad who was very toxic in that you have to be the best and you have to do your best and you have to get, like I think the first day I met him, he was like, what's your grade point average? What extracurriculars are you part of? And I was just like,
Hi.
my mom doesn't make me do those things. I was just like, I don't even know. He was just like, oh God. And he hated me because I was not pushing for greatness. Like I'm all for that, and I did what I enjoyed. I took dance in high school. I did the fun things.
At it.
But
And I said, and are amazing at it.
Oh,
I love
thanks.
always watching you dance.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I derailed you there.
I miss.
but
That's
do.
okay.
I love watching you dance.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah.
But I could see what it was doing to his son, because he was getting like anxiety if he wasn't the best, and he would fall apart if he wasn't like not MVP. What is that? What it's called? No, most valuable player. Yeah, MVP. See, I don't know the sports terms, but yeah,
You got it, girl.
yeah. So he would. It was just I saw the negative effects of that. So it's nice to see someone going for things and not like needing to be the best. And if you're not, you fall apart, and the world is like. So this is great to to set example. Go after the things you want, and it's okay if
Yeah,
you're.
and you can, and for both of my kids, because I have a son and a daughter. So it is to show like you can have those things, right? So what my daughter chooses to do or my son and
Yeah.
whatever their partners are later down the road, like
Yeah.
I don't want them to feel that they have to stop doing things and stop taking care of themselves, maybe because they became a parent. Or if you so choose not to become a parent, like still make that time with the people in your lives to like keep putting yourself first.
Yeah.
And so I always go back with women that I coach, or even in the corporate setting, is like, this is a decade plus in me going very deep in the ugly work of therapy, of being really, really unhealthy, to then do the shortcuts and do the bad ways to get healthy, right? And especially in my generation, in that times of like my 20s and stuff, it was like skinny was health, right? So it was how like thin can you be?
Yeah.
And then that's what we looked up to, and that's what we tried to do to ourselves. And I'm like, no. And the beautiful thing about hiking and powerlifting and Ironman and these sports is like everybody's body is different.
Yeah.
They are different, but they are active and they are doing these things. And there's nothing that you can tell me about a size of an individual when they're squatting or deadlifting 500, 600, 700 pounds, or they're racing Ironman with me and we're doing over 70 miles. So it takes away that physical look to then define health.
Yeah.
And I want people to see that. I really want women to see that.
Yeah.
Because it's so important for us. It's uplifting for us. There's so much science in health in general, right? With your serotonin and longevity. Like I want to be 80, 90 doing these things.
Able to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to be wrinkled and like running, or wrinkled and lifting, and be like, yes.
Yeah.
And you get to see that in these sports, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
And I really want that for my children. But like you said, like I want them to succeed, but success is going to look different for everyone. My view of success is not going to be their view of success.
Yeah. But you are setting a great example where they're like, oh,
you.
this is, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's very admirable and inspiring.
Yeah.
So are you comfortable with talking about the work that you had? Because that's essentially like how you get to where, I mean, like you said, we're always evolving, we're always growing, you're going to continue. But there's a certain moment in everybody's life where they're like, this can go this way, and I could just succumb to all of the shame or like whatever the feelings are, or I'd be like, nope, I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna do it this way, and I'm not gonna succumb to all of those dark things. So,
no, mine was a very real moment. I mean, I had a lot of difficulties, and I was on my own pretty young, and I had some homelessness, and then working my way to support myself, and then all of a sudden I'm pregnant at 22. I don't really know, like we hadn't been dating that long, and so it was just it was like fight or flight all the time, constant survival mode, and just losing myself and losing myself and losing myself. And then one of my very best friends, he was so important to me. He lost his battle to PTSD. He was a vet. And when all of that was happening, and my release was to go out. And I didn't realize it at the time, but that's what I was doing. I was trying to numb what I was going through.
yeah.
And then I left a friend's house, and on White Road, I rolled my car 3 times, and I got cut out of the windshield of my car.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was barely over the legal limit, because when they finally did test, I was in the hospital when they did test my blood alcohol count. And so when the public defender came back, they're like, because your blood alcohol levels, like it increases, like over time. I think that's what they were saying. So, and they didn't, I guess my blood wasn't taken soon enough. It's basically what they said. And she was like, do you want to fight this? And I'm like, no, I didn't. And I think it was what it was in the moment is like, I walked away from that without an entire scrape on, like, nothing was wrong with me. Absolutely nothing was wrong with me. I didn't hit another person. So no one was harmed physically, but it was that, like, I'm a mom and I am lost and something is wrong.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I refused to, like, make it easier than it was. So I had to go through, like, the drunk driving courses, and then do weekend work, right? So, like, loaded up on a bus and did weekend work. And it was really just, and when it happened and people found out, they were just like, what, Carrie? Because I would go pick people up all the time. Like, I would constantly pick up people. But in that moment, I didn't call anyone. For me, it's not like my friends wouldn't have helped me out. I have such a wonderful group of friends. You know a lot of them. So, and I was just lost. And that was really my, like, okay, you have now hit your rock bottom and you have the choice to flip the script. I mean, my daughter ran in the sheriff's, like, they would do this superhero 5K, and she was on, because I would race with my daughter, she was on the flyer for it. Aww. She raced the same day that I went and checked in and put on a vest and did weekend work.
Oh, shoot.
So
how old was she at that time?
Maddie was, if I was 30, let me age myself real fast. So 12 years ago, so she was 6. Oh. So she was 6 and she was racing in a 5K. And that was the, okay, this is not a mom release. This is not, there was my, I need my time, but that wasn't healthy for my time. And that was the script for me. It's like, this is not, like, I had so many different periods of overcoming, but really what I was doing is I was just forcing myself to hit a level of I can do this and not actually working out whatever was going on with me. And that was my, like, I'm not very heavy in my faith. So looking back on it, that was like God to me, like, okay, like I am going to put you through this, but it is for purpose. And your purpose is to be able to sit there with women and be open and be vulnerable, that, like, we are not perfect and we make mistakes, but you can go through that. And so then it was therapy, and it was diving deep into books, and it was very uncomfortable. It was a lot of ugly crying, and just constantly, like, that constant feeling of I'm unsure of myself in this, but like, no, I can do this, and just showing up no matter how hard it was, to dive deep into, like, the hurts of my past, to then find really good tools to help me heal and forgive. And then when hardships started to come throughout those years, I could kind of lean back on those tools. And then health, right? So then with that, I was hiking all the time. My buddy that passed away was constantly outside, so it was like peace also too, like, oh, like, I'm feeling grounded. Like, it started to honor him, but then I was telling you, I felt grounded, I felt that peace, and then it was learning that, like, health started in here and up here, and once I started to heal those pieces, like, everything else kind of just became like a trickle effect, because people a lot of ask me with my racing and the athletic things that I've done, like, I didn't do Ironman until I was 35, like, like, I started this stuff later, right? Like, I became a state and a national record holder in powerlifting at 40.
That's so cool.
So your aha moments, or what you're meant to do, like, they can come later in life. They truly can. And I still have, like, I don't have half the things figured out. But that was my moment. And it was just like, you cannot not look at something like that as a blessing, in the sense of like, okay, like I was saved by his grace. I'm not going to waste that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to change that for myself.
Yeah. So comparing Carrie before the crash to Carrie now, what does that feel like to go back and look at old you and you now and yeah, and
Yeah,
what is that
I think
like?
both are absolutely beautiful, because how strong was Carrie back then to just keep going as a young mom and a working mom, and just trying to like make it through those things. So I honor that beauty in her.
Yeah.
But it's very rewarding for me now, to see how secure I am in myself and how calm I am in myself. It's a very proud thing, and I don't shy away from that. It's a big deal to me, and now I'm very much of the mindset, like if I'm in a room, I am supposed to be in that room. I am worthy to be in that room. Like I have a place and I have a purpose, and I'm not going to shrink myself for someone, right? Like I'm not going to go back whatsoever.
Yeah, I love that.
Thanks. Yeah.
So say there's someone out there listening or watching, and they have those feelings of like maybe in the imposter syndrome or I don't belong, I'm not worthy, like all of those thoughts in their head. How did you work through those when you had those? And because now you're like, oh, I belong here, right? So before, did you have like certain mantras that you would say to yourself, or feelings?
I did. They have apps for everything. Every time I say that sort of stuff, I age myself. I was like, I'm not old, but I'm like, I didn't have apps. Okay, but I did have some apps. I just didn't know how to use them, I guess. And I recorded my voice on my phone, and I would record in my voice so I heard me saying it. The things that I needed to hear for me.
Wow.
And then so I would put headphones in,
Yeah.
and I would do that. And then I really got into meditation, which has turned into prayer, but I still meditate every morning. And really learning and going through courses that, meditation is, for me, it's not to clear my mind. It's just to honor how I'm feeling and then let it go. Like, thank you for visiting my space. It's time for you to leave.
Oh, good. Yeah,
and I became very big with journaling. And journaling also helped me in therapy, because if I couldn't get out like what I was trying to say, I had it written. And then I would do that. And then I've had things, I actually have had my kids do it. And then we would go camping, and anything that we didn't like this about ourselves today, or we were upset at this, like we burn it together. And so like I've done that, but really journaling, and then the mantras to myself, but in my own voice. And they were different for like different things, right? It'd be, like I would cuss at myself. Like if I was getting ready to like race her with something like this, it'd be like, bitch, you got this, right?
Yeah.
Like in my own little happy moment.
Yeah.
But then there would be other ones like, you're worthy of this space. Like you are loved, you are safe. Always in my mind, in my voice. So I heard me keep saying it.
That's so interesting.
And then
I've
I would just
never
put
heard
it back. So it was to hear me say it
Yeah.
to me.
And I'm sure that like sinks into the subconscious, like deeper than somebody else's voice.
Yeah, it's
saying
mine.
The mantras and,
It's me telling me, because I'm the one that wants to believe it.
Yeah.
And I need to hear, we all hear a voice like in our head, or what they're saying, and I want it to be mine. And so that's where I start. And then just truly like knowing that you are worthy to not give up. Like, I don't like to downplay that working through any form of hurts or grief or learning to set boundaries is easy, because it's not.
Yeah.
And I think we need to own that it is. But right when it gets really uncomfortable and it gets really hard, like that's where you're about to make that revelation or the next step. And you know, and I truly believe that people like lean in your faith, whatever your faith is, whatever that looks like for you, like give yourself like a higher power, like mine is God, but is it the universe, whatever it is for you, because let someone take it off you. Like we don't have to bear the burden of this. We don't have to carry this, right? We put so much on ourselves, like let it go.
Yeah.
Like, and don't think it's going to happen overnight and that it's not going to happen again. And then you'll see these little things. And what I loved about journaling too is then you could go back and I could see the things that I would write, and then get to see like then what I was writing, you know. And a journaling to like lose my mind at times has become to prayer, and the whole half sheet of every paper I write is just gratitude every morning of like what I'm grateful for. To see it evolve. But I mean, truly, I'm a solid 12 years deep in continuing to like show up for myself, on what healing looks like, you know, for me. And then hope to share with others, but honor that it might be a little bit different. And I think that's what I love about coaching is like everybody's program looks different for them. And I'm really just, you know, like with women, they're like, do you want pictures? Do you want to wait? I was like, if you'd like to give it to me, you can. I don't care what that scale says. I care about what you feel about you, and that you're excited to like put some time into your health. So that can be your choice, but no, if I ask for it, it's because I'm going to like plan at your macros a little bit. So I need some numbers, but then otherwise, I don't want it.
So let's talk about that. The body, right? How for a lot of women and men too, but women in particular, we have like, we're very like, oh, I have an extra roll. I gained 5 pounds. Like, I remember I caught myself just the other day. I was just like, ooh, because I also work at a gym, and I got on the scale. One of the trainers, she's in her, I think she's 23, but she's super young. And I was like, ooh, I gained 2 pounds. And she's like, I'm the heaviest I've ever been, and I'm the best I've ever looked. She's like, don't pay attention to that. And I should have known that because I was a trainer before. So I'm just like, but you know, the self-talk is always there. And I've done an insane amount of work, like self-work, shadow work, all of that. And little things will come up like that, like old little things. And I'm like, ooh, you caught me. I told her, I was like, ooh, good catch. Because what am I saying? Like,
no, and it still happens to me. Like, it is going to happen. Right? Like, we're going to have that. And it's like I talk about, like putting you in the room to like go through things for a moment, right? So with powerlifting, like, from coming off of Ironman, I was rather thin. And so like I did cut, and I lifted in a very low weight classes. So the first time I set any of the records, I lifted in a weight class that was like under 105 pounds. I was lifting at like 102 pounds. And so I pushed a threshold of what is healthy for that. And I maintained it, and I did it. And then I was just like, woof, right? And I have the most amazing coach that never even cared. That was kind of that's the competitive piece of me. I was like, wait, no woman's done this, which means we need to show that women can do this. Like, that's where my mind goes. Like, who said a woman at my age can't do this? Nobody. So watch me try. So I did, which is very humbling and wonderful to go through. But with hiking and Ironman and those things, there's no weight class. So I'd never experienced being weighed to then do something. And so that was a really good growth piece with me. And then in this last time that I competed, I went up 2 weight classes, right? but I'm also perimenopausal, so it's like a hormonal. God
Yeah.
bless my family. Like, oh, women. And so, like, being able to, like, get my weight under control, right? And so I caught myself, right? I was like, I know you're not upset with yourself right now because you weigh more. Okay, cool. No, like, and that was the big thing for me. Like,
Yeah.
once I felt that negative talk to myself, I was like, no.
Yeah.
Um,
Good catch.
and yeah, but you
Yeah.
have to check
Yeah.
yourself. And
Yeah.
so then, but I also, like, I want women to realize, like, if that's bothering you, like, why does it bother you? Like, I'm probably gonna poke the bear a little bit to be like, what is the validation piece and, like, the external for you?
Yeah.
That maybe we want to talk about, and maybe we want to heal a little bit, because
Yeah.
I also don't want women to then go to the hyper over of working out too much or focus on what, like, find some balance in there, but then really is it like have your accountability person or talk yourself back, and just understand that, like, our bodies are going to change.
Yeah.
Women naturally hold a higher fat count than men. Like,
Yeah.
our metabolisms are different, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have
and we see the memes and we see it too, but like, it's real life. Like, the male in your life and you can go on the same program at the same time, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to see different results than you.
Yeah.
Which is why when you are customizing a nutrition plan for women, it needs to look different, and it should look different
Yeah, for sure.
than a male.
Yeah.
And especially, like, as we age. But I think with women's bodies too, that's also, like, a societal thing that's been pushed out there. But what I do see, having an 18-year-old daughter that I love with that generation, I don't know if they're XYZ, I don't know what it is, and, like, they remind me all the time, like, I don't know what generation you guys are. The beauty in the body is different with this generation.
Oh, that's good.
Right? Like, I don't
Are they more
see
accepting?
that. Yeah, they're very
Oh.
accepting. Like,
That's great.
and there seems to there's a different approach into loving the skin that you're in, that I see with that age group, that is just so beautiful. But then you get into women, like, within their 30s or in our 40s or whatever, and we grew up looking at something so different. And that's why I think it's important to have women in health and in sport that are different ages, and they look different, so you can see that, like, health is just not that physical piece, and release it.
Yeah.
And then real talk, like, if you're uncomfortable, like, about your body, like, you can make choices to work towards it.
Yeah.
But also be mindful, like, if there's people in your life that are contributing to that, like, okay, well, let's start there. Let's cut them.
Yeah.
Because, like, your people will love on you no matter, like, what your body looks like.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes too, well, not, I don't think, I very much believe that the mental and the spiritual health should come first. Like, I want people to feel really grounded in that,
Yeah.
because it truly will naturally evolve into, like, a physical health piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super important.
And give yourself balance. Like I said, like, I just competed in April, so, I made weight for that, but, like, my weight's totally up right now. But truth be told, like, I was regimented for what I was doing, and then now I'm just like, I need a break. So, like, everyone's like, oh, you don't need things. And I'm like, if you saw me smash a bag of chips and a cheesecake, like, yes, I do. Like, if I am focused and I'm dedicated and I have a goal, I will honor myself to give myself that.
Yeah.
But then I will also be like, yeah, I just, like, I need a break right now. Also, when you put your body through that, it must regulate. And so that's what I want women to realize. Like, if you've been crash dieting, if you've been in such a low caloric intake, and then you bring it up, your body's gonna skyrocket. Like, you're not doing anything wrong. It's actually trying to balance itself out, and like all of a sudden it's getting nourishment, and it's like, oh my God, feed me.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna have to balance out, and it's gonna take time to get yourself regulated.
Yeah.
To be at that point.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so is that what's happening? Because I was in a calorie deficit for like 2 weeks. And then at some point, I was just like, I don't know if it's like my time of the month or whatever is coming, but I need me a hamburger. I love hamburgers. And they had like this special one. It was like the sweet onion something special at local kitchens. I think it's still out there. And they don't sponsor me. No, I'm just kidding. But it was the most amazing burger.
Oh my God,
and I brought it back with me to the gym, and everyone's like, are you eating a greasy ass burger right now? And I'm like, and it's so good. I recommend it. Go get it. And then the next day, I see one of the office staff. He had it.
He had it because everybody saw it and everybody wanted it. They just didn't want to say it out loud, but they wanted it. Yes.
And he's like, I was like, oh, did you get the sweet onion special one? And he's like, yeah. I was like, isn't it good? He's like, yeah.
Yeah. But, and truthfully too, women with our cycles, like, that plays a huge role in how we train and how we eat.
Do you do this? Do you sync, or do you do the? God, I don't even know the terminology. But there's some trainers that like go with their cycle. Like,
yes,
you do.
I don't 100% like my training with powerlifting, because here's the thing: I'm gonna lift what I'm gonna lift, right? And that's like, you know, one of the things that always like baffles me in sport is like they're so male oriented in things, right? Yeah. And so I learned that a lot in Ironman, and it's gotten better. But then like in powerlifting, right? Like you weigh in, but if you are in that phase of your cycle, whether you're about to start or you start, we put on water weight and put on bloat. And so my cycle phase of being on my cycle, so like in phase 2, I'm anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds heavier, just a given, right? And that doesn't matter. So like if I end up being on a cycle when I'm going to compete, that is something in the back of my mind. Like you actually
prepare for it.
You need to cut
extra.
Oh, man. Or you just lift at what you lift, like what you weigh. And that's what I would really recommend for people in general. But I will ask my female clients, they'll be like, I'm tired today, like, or I can't lift this, I lifted it last week. And I'll be like, what cycle phase are you in?
Yeah.
Or like, are you about to start your period? Did you start your period?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah. We're going to train a little bit differently today based on where you are in your cycle.
Yeah.
And you have to eat to counteract that too, right? Like, think of your iron levels. Like, are you potentially iron deficient right in the here and now? And yes, that's going to affect your mood, your sleep, you know, your how you lift or how you exercise.
For sure.
And so it's really good for women to start to sit with how you feel in each cycle, and then what it feels like when you're working out in those cycles. And then if you have a trainer, like talk to your trainer at the time so like they can adjust it. So like, you know, bless like my powerlifting coach and my handler, because I'm so open about that. I had a female Ironman coach, so we talked about that, right? Like we went through it, and there's this book called Roar, and it actually is a triathlete, and she's a women's coach, and it dives deep into cycle phases and women and training. And so I had to read that. My coach gave it to me. She's like, read this book. I was like, okay. So I would tell my coach, like, hey, my period's about to start. Like, I'm going to be fatigued today. I'm going to have to, like, drop weight. Or, oh, my back's hurting today because, like, I'm on my cycle, right? And I'm perimenopausal now. So, unfortunately, like, sometimes I have 2 in a month. And, like, that's really rough.
Oh, that happens?
Yeah, it does. At least for me, it is. Yeah.
Oh, no. I hope that doesn't.
It's like when I said earlier, like, bless my family, like, I really mean that because it's a wild
Oh,
phase of life. That's all I
no.
can say is it's wild. And so, but God bless those two guys because I'm open about it. Because I'm like, this is going to affect how I'm training. Like, at my last competition, because I have an abnormal cycle, I was starting my cycle. And so he was checking in. He's like, how do you feel? How does your back feel? Are you
Yeah.
fatigued? Because I've been so TMI open, but
It's good for him though to know those
it's
things.
well, I think it's really good for all individuals, but male and females, to understand what the female body is going through, and how that can affect people differently. And like, yes, you can push through in the times that you need to, but also give yourself some grace that you might just need this at that time. And if that time you need the greasy burger or you need the milkshake, or for me, it's like potato chips or cereal.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's cereal. So what? Like,
Yeah.
let it be, right? And
Especially if it's not like all the time. Like it was like a nice little treat.
yeah, have your treat.
Yeah.
Like, I really think health is a balance, right?
Yeah.
And if you see that scale tip either way, right, then it's something that we need to talk
Yeah.
about. But otherwise, I'm like, no, okay, like, love on yourself in your moment. Because if we just bash ourselves